In this video, we're going to go ahead and solve a system of equations using matrices, but more importantly, we're going to use our calculator instead to do the massive amount of work for us. So first things first, we have to convert this system into a matrix. If you don't know how to do that yet, please go back and review a couple of my previous videos on how to solve a system with matrices. And so it's going to look just like the same. The only difference is it's going to be in brackets, and the coefficients are the only things used. So we have -1, 3, 2 across the top. We have 1, 29, -10 across the bottom. And now that we have a matrix, we can use our calculator. I'm going to choose to use the TI-84 Silver Edition, the TI-84Plus and the TI-84 as well as the TI-83Plus have the exact same key sequence. And so if you have any one of those four calculators, and if you have the silver, it'll look like this. If you have the 83, it'll look black, and your second button will be yellow instead of blue. Otherwise, the keystrokes are identical. So go ahead and turn it on here. Clear that out. I want to input that matrix. In order to do that, I need to know the size. And so I need to know the size of the matrix because I have to know how many rows and columns. The size is the number of rows, 2 rows. Rows go this way. Columns come from the top, and they go down. And so I have 2 rows, 3 columns. If you get confused by this, your calculator will help you. Starting out, let's go into second matrix. And now we need to edit. We don't have a matrix ready, so we need to go over to edit. So scroll over to edit, and it doesn't matter which one of these letters you choose, but press enter to choose. And now you have to tell it how big you want it. If you accidentally put it in wrong and say 3, enter, 2, enter, you'll notice you have 2 columns of zeros, 3 rows. Well, it doesn't look like what we have. In that case, just scroll back up into the sizing and reverse the order 2 and 3. And now we have 3 zeros across each row and 2 rows, which looks like what we need. Now all we have to do is it's already in row 1, column 1. We simply put in the value and press enter. It will automatically advance to the next entry on the right. If it's at the end of a row, it will advance to the next row. Once it completes its sequence and it ends on the the lower right hand entry, it won't advance anymore, and pressing enter will just keep it there. But you must press enter. So our first one was -1. Our next one is 3, then 2, pressing enter after each one. Then 1, then 29, then -10. Press enter. You'll notice the -10 gets put in there. Now, what you want to do before you even go on to something next or something else like calculating anything, you want to make sure that you have the right numbers in here, because this calculator is dangerous. It will do it. It is scary good. And so we have -1, 1 in the first column. Second column is 329. Third column is 2, -10. Okay, we're good. If you have any more than 3 columns, if you'll scroll to the right, you'll see that 4th column. It will advance 1 column for each scroll press. Once you're done inputting that, press second quit. Don't try to hit clear. All you'll do is clear that last entry. Press second quit. Now we need to work with matrices again. The matrix math is within the matrix menu. So we hit second matrix. That brings up, and we see that, oh, look, we have a 2x3 in A. Good. That's what we had. Scroll over to math. The command that we're looking for is rref. Now, if you're in a class currently, your instructor will probably say use ref. That's perfectly fine. That's row echelon form. That means it's going to spit out something that looks like this. It's going to give you ones on the diagonal, zeros underneath, and then you'll have other numbers in the other spots. And then of course you'll have your x, y, z. Now, you can't solve it by this. It's not done yet. We still don't have zeros in the upper triangle here. So you have to be careful. The command that I'm going to use is rref, which is right below it, called row reduced or reduced row echelon form. What that's going to do is it's going to put ones on the diagonal, just like row echelon form. But it's going to put zeros everywhere else, and when you're done, you are done. You have the solution, and here's your point. That's why I choose it. If you're going to have the calculator do it, you might as well just go ahead and do it. So we are going to search for rref. So we'll scroll down until we see rref, which is option B. Once you memorize these, because you'll probably use them quite a bit, once you get to the math, you can hit alpha B. It'll just jump right to it. Oh, let me clear that out and go back. Second matrix, math. So we scroll down to option B, rref, for reduced row echelon form. Hit enter. You'll come up with rref, and it's looking for an input. You must input a matrix. If you input a number, it doesn't know what to do with it. That's not the structure of the number that it's looking for. So we go back into second matrix, and in the names, we call the matrix that we want. Close off the parentheses, hit enter. Pow, there it is. Now we have decimals. Some teachers don't like that. I don't like that. Not a big fan of it if you can make it a fraction. It's not, decimals for me are hard to work with. So I'd rather see a fraction. I get a better number sense on them. To change these to fractions, you can simply press the math key. You'll notice the very first command is an arrow says to frac. That means take whatever's before me and put it into fraction form. Hit enter. A and S stands for answer. Take my previous answer, change it into fraction form. Go. And look at that. We have 1, 0, negative 11 fourths. So let's write that down. 1. So we have 1, 0, negative 11 fourths, 0, 1, negative 1 fourth. This means that x is equal to negative 11 fourths and y is equal to negative 1 fourth. Or it is the point negative 11 fourths, comma, negative 1 fourth. And that's how you can get the calculator to do the mess for you. By the way, calculator will do a lot of these lickety-split. If you're using Kramer's rule later on, my students aren't, so that won't mean anything to them, but if you are using Kramer's rule later on, it will take determinants of matrices also. And so you can do that in one fell swoop. I hope this helped you understand how to use your calculator to solve matrices, and therefore solve systems of equations.